You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral Concept. It's great to have you here today on this Motivation and Mindset Monday, where I can't wait to get into this ancient Okinawan principle called Ikigai. And it starts out like this. The premise of it is our reason for being. Finding how do we find out why we are meant to be here. And I love how it starts out. I love the analogy that it says this. At 70 years old, you are but a child. At 80, you are merely a youth. And at 90, if the ancestors invite you into heaven, ask them to wait until you are 100, and then you might consider it. Now, this type of mindset allows these people to believe that they should live a nice, long, healthy life and a great quality of life because they have a reason for being. Right? Most of us, or many of us, have forgotten or lost our way. We don't know why we are here. We don't know our purpose. We've lost our reason for being. And so that doesn't set you up to have the best health. It doesn't set you up to be able to maintain a good, healthy body weight because sometimes we turn towards foods or alcohol or whatever it might be. And we also don't want to live to be 100 years old because we don't have a reason for living a long time. We don't have a reason for being. So on today's show, I want to go over how in Okinawa they find their reason for being. I'm going to give you a couple additional tips as well on things that you can do to live a nice, long, healthy life from both a mind and body perspective. So, when I look at this principle, and it's called Ikigai, when I look at it and I really begin to dissect it and try to understand it, especially from a Western-based mindset, which is my mindset. Now, again, I've studied Eastern-based philosophies. I can't wait to one day visit Japan and Okinawa, but I have been to China, I've been to India many times, I've been to Sri Lanka, I've been all over Europe, and I've been to smaller villages where they are living, and especially in Portugal, where they are living more of that ancient-based tradition and lifestyle. And I can tell you this, one of those secrets, and this isn't the 4 ways that we're going to find our Ikigai, our reason for being, but I can tell you this, that a lot of the longest-lived people take things slower. That's one of the biggest differences with our Western-based society. And again, it's not just the United States, it's Canada, it's Europe, Western Europe especially, it's Australia, it's our Western-based countries. We move very, very quickly. And really anytime we're in the city, around cities for sure, things just move at a faster pace. Now, again, we kind of get addicted to that. For sure, I'm addicted to that. No, there's no doubt about it. We love the city lifestyle. We love the city pace, but I do try to balance that with, complete nothing and just relaxation in Maine where there's nothing going on. There's no city. There's a couple local shops and that's it. We're just outside, we're relaxing, right? It's the juxtaposition of that. Well, the longest lived people absolutely take life at a slower pace. And what they also do is this, they don't take life too serious. And that's extremely important. Even as we discover our reason for being, we're not getting super serious or anxious or overwhelmed by that. So what I want to do is I want to start to go into now the 4 parts. Because what you want to do is not focus on any one of the 4 in particular, like to a higher degree. What I want you to do is find the intersection of that. Because the intersection of these 4 principles and these 4 questions I'm going to have you answer, That's where your Ikigai lies. And your Ikigai is your reason for being. It is your purpose in life. So I've heard this explained many different ways. What I would love you to do is, if you're driving right now, listen to the podcast, make a mental note of the questions. Go back, write them down. And what I'll do is I'll actually post all 4 questions in the show notes today so that you don't have to memorize them. So what I'm going to have you do is head on over to StephenCabral.com. Well, all the podcasts, and I know that you know this, but if you're a longtime listener, all of the podcasts are over at StephenCabral.com/podcasts. And then today's individual show will be at StephenCabral.com/1361. That is where I will put our 4 questions to find out where our Ikigai lies. Now, the first one is this, and I love this question, and I actually would love you to be able to journal these questions. Whatever comes to your mind, don't filter it. Too many people think that, oh, I should answer it this way because that's what my family would want me to say. Or I want to answer it this way because it's what's best for my spouse or my partner or my kids. Or this is what's best for my career. No, I want you to answer this deep down at a subconscious gut-based level, a heart-based level of what comes to your mind first. So what I want you to do is this. I want you to think about this first question. Whatever comes to mind, right away, write it down, mental note it. And I want you to do this. Answer the question right now, what do I love? All right, just answer that question. What do I love? And for me, immediately, I just let it flow up. Immediately, I think about reading. I know that's very, very strange for most people. But immediately, I come to reading. I come to education. I come to teaching. I come to my 2 young girls. I come to my wife. I come to my family. These are the things that are immediately coming to me. Outdoors just came to me. Studying martial arts just came to me. Exercising just came to me. Those are the things that flowed right to me. Now, I don't know what just flowed to you, but what I do is I write those down. Like, those are things that have deep meaning to me. Family, education, teaching, being outdoors, staying active, reading, right? Like, those are the things that, and if we break it down, it's really, well, my family, I obviously they are my life. They are everything to me. If I had to stop the podcast, which I love, if I had to stop my practice, which I love, for my family, I would. Like, that, they're first, right? So they're number 1. But you can have multiple number 1s, right? Like, it's like, okay, well, they're 1A and my 1B is teaching. But that's what my practice is. That's what equilibriumnutrition.com is. That's what integrativehealthpractitioner.org is. That's what all of these different things are. It's all teaching. That's what I do. And I hire an amazing team. So I set the vision for my team. I talk about what we're going to do and what I want to accomplish. And then we have an amazing team. And I mean, we have 30 people now behind the scenes that are making everything happen, right? And so, but what I do is I teach. That's my job. That's my reason for being. That's what I love. And I don't teach on the stock market. I teach on functional medicine, integrative health, right? That's what I teach on. That is, for me, what I love. And I read about it, and I don't read about it because I have to. I could just say, okay, I'm good. I don't need to read anymore. Let me just teach what I've already learned. No, I'm continuing to be a student of life and a student of medicine, of natural medicine. So that's what I love. But what do you love? Do you love painting? Do you love dance? Do you love music? Do you love cooking? Like, what is it that you love? Again, I can't even conjure all these things up because we're all individuals. So what do you love? That's what it's all about. Okay. Now, the second question is this, and this is important. Now, remember, no one question is more important than another. But the second question is this. What am I good at? Right? So this is interesting. So what am I good at? And I would say to myself, I always start with the positive, right? So first I want you to think just for a moment, what am I good at? Okay. And just go with that. Are you good at writing? Are you good at speaking? Are you good at singing? Are you good at dancing? Are you good at math? Are you good at English? Are you good at science? Like, what are you good at, right? Are you good at being the best, I don't even know, organizer in the world? Because I'm telling you in a minute, there's a reason why I said that. So hold on to that. Remember that thought. So just think about what you're good at and just make a bulleted list. You don't need to actually write out paragraphs. Work on a bulleted list first, and then you can get more in depth on it, right? So for me, my first bulleted list, like, what do I love? Well, it's family time. So it's not just family. Hopefully most people love their family, but it's family time. It's getting together. It's birthdays and holidays and celebrations. My wife always makes fun of me because I'm so big on those. Like, she's not as big on them. I don't know why I am. We could start to do a subconscious based analysis on me, but those are huge for me. I love holidays. I love birthdays. I make a way bigger deal out of them than they probably should be made, but I enjoy them. Like, that's a reason for celebration, and I love to celebrate. So, and then, of course, there's my teaching and there's my research and there's being outdoors. All right, so that's what I love. Now, what am I good at? Well, I could say I don't have notes for a podcast. I don't have notes for a video. So I think what I'm good at, if I look at it from an objective standpoint, it would be taking in a lot of information, condensing that into what really matters and can help people the most, and then speaking on that topic. I think I'm a decent writer. I don't think that I'm an A-plus writer. What I think I'm better at is simply speaking, talking on video or audio. That's it. And again, like, not from an ego-based perspective. I can do that without trying. So that's kind of one of those things. What are you good at? Like, what can you do without trying too hard and you're already good at it, right? Like, I think I'm good. Like, I'm proficient at math. I'm proficient at English. My wife would say I'm probably not proficient at English, but math I could say yes, right? So, but that I'm not a whiz at that. Meaning, like, when I compare myself to, let's say, some of the private wellness clients I have that are hedge fund analysts and this and that, I mean, they're doing advanced calculations in their head, and I'm like, that was really impressive, right? So I'm not that. Like, I'm not that, right? But are they able to do what I'm doing with teaching and speaking? Maybe, maybe not. And again, there's not a comparison. We're all unique. These exercises are actually to show you your uniqueness and why that's amazing in its own right? If I was trying to be something that I'm not, I would be frustrated in life. And that's actually what this exercise is all about as well. Okay, so what are you good at, right? What are you good at? And you don't have to be the best. I'm not saying that this is the best podcast in the world. I'm not saying that I'm the best on video. Probably not, right? Probably not. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be number one in the world. And that's what I want to teach to people. And I'm going to be teaching more. I'm going to be doing more for health coaches in 2020, teaching them. Everybody thinks that they have to be like someone else or they have to be the best. You don't. You just have to be you. And you want to be talented or proficient at a certain thing. And you want to go all in on that thing. That's it. Okay. Now, number 3 is this. What does the world need from me? I want you to ask that question. What does the world need from me? Really, really important. Here's typically what I say to people, and I was going to save this for the very end. But I want to do it now. What does the world need from you? So there's many things. Like my 2 daughters, well, they need me to be a good dad, a patient dad, and they need someone that they can feel safe with and they can confide in, and they need someone simply to be there too. They don't need me to work 100 hours a week. They probably would rather have their dad with them more, right? So that's what they need. For my wife, well, she needs me to show her love. She needs me to make sure that she knows that she's cared for, that I respect her, and that I also appreciate all that she does for our family. Like, those are things that are needed from me. For my parents, I still have to try to be a good son, right? I have to, even though I'm grown, I have to now try to care for them as well. Right? And so these are things that people need from you, right? But what does the world need from you, right? How could the world be a better place because of you? And it's usually, I'm just going to go out here. It usually goes back to, what are you good at? Like, what are your innate talents? But also, what have you learned? What can you teach? That's always what I go back to. You want to find out what the world really needs from you and how you can do really well in life. What have you learned? And more importantly, what did you learn out of necessity? What was your major problem in life that you solved? And this is a huge one. It really is. What did you figure out in life because of necessity, a problem you were having that you solved? It wasn't readily apparent. So if it wasn't readily apparent as to what you needed to do and you had to go and figure it out, someone else needs that same advice. That's what I did. At 17 years old, I got extremely sick. I went to the best doctors, not good doctors. I went to the best medical doctors around Boston. And you could say, arguably, Boston has the best universities in its radius and best hospitals in the world. You can make that argument for sure, without a doubt. I mean, you have MIT, you have Harvard, you have Tufts University, you've got Boston University, you've got Brigham Women's Hospital, Mass General Hospital, and you have Beth Israel. I mean, these are Mount Auburn. You have the best hospitals here too. Now, again, you could argue for other parts of the world as well, and you can make that argument, no doubt about it. But Boston at least has to be top 5. I mean, the hospitals, MGH and Brigham Women's or Beth Israel, are top 2 and 3 out of the top 20 in the U.S. every single year, typically top 10. So, again, we can make that argument, and the only reason I'm saying that is that there are a lot of brilliant doctors here. Now, I went to a lot of those brilliant doctors. One of them was even chief of staff at one of those top hospitals that I named. And they didn't know what was wrong with me. They knew I was sick. They would admit that. Some said it was all in my head. So I was sick in the head. And some could see clearly by the swollen glands I had and the pain all around my abdomen that there was something wrong with me. So, but they didn't know what to do. Now again, okay, what did I need to do? Out of necessity, back in the late 90s, no internet, at least not for our family in Medford, Massachusetts. Couldn't figure it out. What did I do? Well, went to the library, started to read. Like, that's where my original love for reading came, because there was no internet. Couldn't read just a 500-word snippet and think that I have it all figured out. Believe me, that would have made me probably even worse, right? Because I would have been jumping from snippet to snippet. But then we figured out, there are other types of doctors. So that started now my path to learning this thing we call alternative medicine, in air quotes. Nobody in alternative medicine actually calls it alternative medicine. That's something for conventional medicine to say. But, natural health, right? Natural health and healing. That makes up what we call integrative health. So what I did was I found out how to get well. Along the way, I learned a lot. And now I'm sharing that with others. That's what I believe the world needs from me. That's it. Now, I'll do that in just 1 second. So that's what I believe the world needs from me. Not everybody, but just enough people who need to hear it. That's all. So I know that I can't help everyone out there in the world, but I just do my best. That's it. And I want the same for you. You do your best, right? And so let's say that you figured out something in your life too, whether it be parenting or accounting or finance or real estate or law, health, weight loss, whatever you figured out, cooking 5-minute meals, like for busy parents, right? What have you figured out? What does the world need from you? Well, for sure, if you can show us how to make 5-minute meals, that would be great, right? And then that could be your niche. Now, the last one is this. Your reason for being. We live in a world where money is a necessity. I don't know any other way. I visited and studied in many other countries, and I saw how bad it can get. Sure, we have homelessness in the United States, and it's not good. And we have it here in Boston as well. And a lot of people, they try to do what they can. There's no doubt about it. And it's not good. But there are shelters, and there are also places to get food. I've been in countries where there are no shelters, and people are living on the street without even clothes. And it is absolutely deplorable. So I say that simply because that person, if you gave them, let's just say in India, for example, and you were to give them $500 a month, that would change their life, their children's life. So money does matter. It does matter. I don't think that we should get overly concerned with having to make X number of dollars, but certainly you want to make enough to provide for yourself, your family, without having to stress every single month. I believe that causes a lot of stress in many people's lives. So there's nothing wrong with wanting to make a good living. I think there's actually something wrong with people not wanting to make a good living to be able to support themselves and travel and do the things that they want in life, because there's nothing wrong with that. So the fourth one is this: what can I be compensated for? So when you look at that and you say, okay, what do I love? What am I good at? What does the world need from me? What can I be compensated for? Which is your job or the way that you be compensated. Now, remember, there's different ways to be compensated as well. Like, for example, let's say that you don't really need the money. Well, you can still teach. And you're compensated by people coming to you, giving you not praise, but their success stories, and you being able to share your knowledge with the world. Like, there's different ways for compensation, but most people would not mind making a little bit extra money per month, even if they were doing something part-time with their Ikigai. So what I would say is this: as you have your list now of what you love to do, and let's say we put that in one circle on the left-hand side. Now, let's draw a top circle. We're going to draw 4 circles, okay? Left circle, what do I love? Top circle, what am I good at? And then as we're moving counterclockwise on the right side, what does the world need from me? And then the bottom circle is, what can I be compensated for? Now, in the middle of that is the Ikigai. And your Ikigai is going to most likely connect all areas of your life and give you your purpose, your reason for being. And it's what allows you to wake up every day with passion. Why? You're doing what you love. Not the only thing, but you're doing one thing that you love, okay? You're doing also what you're good at. If you do things that you're good at, honestly, in life and the day goes so much easier because you're not fighting what you're not naturally good at. It's a huge thing, right? What does the world need from me? Well, if you're giving back to the world, if you're being of service, there's no doubt in my mind that is one of the things in life that's going to bring you the most happiness. There's just no doubt in my mind. If you do something of service to the world, you're going to be compensated in happiness as well. And the last one is this: if you're doing what you love, you're doing something that you're good at, you're teaching or giving back in a company or on your own in the world in some way with your family, you're going to be compensated for that because you're going to be in demand, because you hold answers and you do it in a way that other people like you aren't doing. You're doing it in your own unique way. When you look at this, it is one of the most magnificent ways to live life. I did not realize this until just, let's say, 6-7 years ago. I know that maybe that seems like a long time for some people or not a long time, but I've been in the health field for a long time. But I was doing too much of the management, too much of the overseeing, too much of like the consulting. I had to get back to what I truly love. And what I love is being able to teach. I love being able to read, whether it's research, books, articles, whatever it is. And then I love being able to distill that information to something that I know would make a definite difference in someone's life. Now, would every single thing I speak on make a difference in every single person's life? No, but that's okay. Because what I'm doing is that sometime in someone's life, the information that I'm providing might be able to connect with them or someone they love, someone they care about, and they can pass it on to them. I want the same for you. Whether you're a computer programmer, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or dad, whether you're someone that is amazing at organizing like I talked before, you can actually share those skills with others. That can become part of who you are. And if you live that as much as possible, like the more that you can live your Ikigai, the happier you will be. There's no doubt about it. But remember, the inverse is also true. The further you move away from what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs from you, you're not going to be compensated most likely as well. Or if you are, it's just a job and you're not going to love it. And you're going to have to drudge through every single day. So what I want to do and how I want to close is this. I want you to go back through these 4 questions. Give it some real thought. Honestly, give it some real thought, but you'll go back and you'll know it's part of who you are. It's part of your subconscious. Is that when you find out your answers for these 4 things, you're going to be living life at a higher level. As they say, you're going to be vibrating at a higher level simply because you're going to be living your life in more alignment with the true you. You're going to be living your passion, your purpose. And when you do that, you're going to smile more. You're going to be happier, and you're going to hopefully start to give more gratitude. When you give more gratitude, and I recommend giving gratitude right now, because when you practice gratitude, when you practice being thankful for what you have right now, you're in a mindset of abundance. When you have a mindset of abundance, you're going to get more of what you're focused on in life. So if you're focused on happiness, if you're focused on doing great work, if you're focused on being a better contributor to this world, you're going to get more of that. You will be compensated in more ways than you could possibly imagine. It's one of those secrets to life, right? So I urge you to go back, find your reason for being, live your Ikigai. The world needs it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And again, if this show was helpful, please do feel free to pass it along to anyone else you believe it can serve. Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you. The real reason I began to get well finally is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now at equa.life, you can order an at-home lab test or lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, the EquaLife difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.